Okay, y'all, so I'm gonna be a little bit more laid back for this video because I just came off a vacation. I went on a cruise for the first time and mind blown because what? How have I not been on a cruise before? You know, I always talk about how I don't have the patience for cooking. What do you mean I can just grab and go? Don't have to wash dishes, don't have to clean anything. Like, as somebody who has cleaned and been like, just the housemaid for her entire life, it was just so relaxing. I was like, I gotta book another one. I have vacation blues, slight depression after I got off the boat. Like, I was legit sad. I was just like, I want to get back on. That's a real thing. And so, as a Sagittarius moon, I'm always traveling. And if you are somebody who wants to go on a vacation, you want to move somewhere, I want you to take your astrocartography chart out right now, pull it up, and I'm going to kind of guide you through it. I know sometimes people are like, I don't know what this means. There's lines everywhere. So if you are somebody who can, teach yourself, I will do my best to try to explain as much as I can. Obviously, we're not talking live, so I'm not looking at your entire chart. But usually, whenever I do these sessions with my clients, I will give also examples from my life. I'm sorry. And also the lives of other people who I know who have traveled to these places and what they have experienced. But for this video, I'm just going to kind of go through what you can see whenever it comes to an astrocartography chart, because of course it will utilize your birth chart. And there are some misconceptions behind, people being like, well, if I just go to my Venus line and Venus means love or money, that, my whole life will just be so perfect. And it's like, no. Because sometimes people have harder aspects whenever it comes to certain planetary energies. And just going there does not mean, bliss and harmony. You also have to look at, are there any other aspects that it's making? You traveling to Houston is going to be a totally different experience, maybe for somebody else that you know. Maybe it's like a great time for you and a not so great time for somebody else is because what is going on in the birth chart? What lines are intersecting? So I'll just kind of give a brief introduction description whenever you are looking at it, what you can look for when it comes to career or love or just expansion in general. Because you will see, of course, the planetary lines, and then also you'll see things like M, C, I, C, D, S, or DC, and AS or AC. I think some have it different because one is ascendant and one is descendant. Sorry, every time I do a video, I'm telling you, I get a text message and I'm like, what in the world? Okay, so, anyways, if you are somebody who is looking for a career expansion, of course, you are going to be looking for that MC line. You better have your chart up right now. You better look at it, okay? So if you see an MC, the MC, of course, is tied to your public image, your career, your reputation. How do people view you out in the world? So, of course, a Sun MC can bring a lot of visibility, because the Sun is like Leo. It is leadership. It is recognition. So if you're traveling to that Sun MC line and you want your career to kind of get a boost, that might be a good place to go. It might be in the middle of nowhere. You might be like, I have never thought of going to this place, but it's crazy how the energies work that going there, you might just find your alignment. There are places where we naturally want to go where we are like, okay, for some reason, I want to go to Iceland. For some reason, I want to go to wherever. And then you pull up the chart, and then you will see some type of line going through there. Now, a lot of times, it's not always like this just amazing experience. Sometimes it is, you have to go there for some reason. That you will see some kind of growth, some type of evolution whenever you leave that place. It might not be the funnest of times, but you always learn something. So, anyways. Sun MC, and if you see your Saturn MC, it might push you to work really hard to build something that's really long lasting. It's Saturn. Saturn is slow, Saturn is obstacle, Saturn is delay, but Saturn is also longevity. So maybe you can work that job or that career for 10, 20 plus years and you will have that sustainability like that. Now, if you have a Pluto MC, it might be a lot of transformation, like scorpionic transformation through your work. Very intense, but very powerful too. Scorpio or Pluto is very transformative energy. Now, if it's a Mars MC, I need some water. You can have a lot of ambition or drive or a lot of competition whenever it comes to your career. Maybe taking a lot of risks whenever it comes to your career. Like, I don't know, however that may look to you. It is Martian energy is like Aries. It is like a Scorpio. It's very competitive. You go to that Mars MC, I'm competing against all of you astrologers here. Okay, that can be a thing. Maybe if I travel, I don't know where my Sun MC, I mean my Mars MC, I'm just making this up, but India is a place where there are a lot of astrologers. Maybe I could compete and be the top one, in all of the country. Now, when it comes to your love lines, though, because it's really popular for people to talk about their love, and I want to find somebody, I will say this too, that although you could have, let's say, a Venus line or your descendant line on the other side of the world, people who are from those places too can be heavily attracted to you. So I did have a client who I was like, "Oh, you have a Venus in Mexico." And he's never been to Mexico before, but he was like, "Oh my gosh, my last girlfriend was Mexican." Then I also had another client said the same thing. "Oh, your Venus line is in Ethiopia." And he just like he's like frozen his tracks. He was like, "Oh my gosh, my last girlfriend was Ethiopian." He's never been there before. So it's not just about going there, but it's those people can be very attracted to you. Now, it's not just romantic. It could be just like in general, like those type of people, they gravitate towards you for some reason. So looking for the DC or the descendant line or the Venus line, that is for your love life. So it can highlight, of course, those areas where relationships become a central theme while you're there. You have those flings. I've saw a TikTok of a girl saying, "Oh, why would you want to spend money staying places when you can just get a boyfriend in every country?" And she literally had like a guy in every country. Maybe she was constantly traveling to her Venus line and she just was unaware of it. But that is something that can kind of play out. So, of course, Venus is very the Venus on the descendant or the Venus DC is very magnetic connections, romantic partnerships, um, beauty, and a lot of ease in the relationship too can be a thing. Now, if it's the moon on the descendant, there could be a lot of emotional bonding with people, having really nurturing relationships or deep family connections because the moon rules over Cancer, and Cancer is tied to home and family and ancestry. And Cancer people are just very into family. So traveling to that moon DC, it can give you that type of energy. Now, the Neptune on the descendant, it can give you like a spiritual love or a dreamy love, or also like foggy rose-colored glasses. Like you meet someone, you're like, "Oh my gosh, you're the perfect person," and then they turn out to be like terrible. Sometimes that can happen too. You just become so enamored with like an image or a fantasy about the person, and it's not really that thing. So um, Juno on the descendant, that can also be like a strong marriage or even like a soulmate type of energy too. I have seen like Jupiter on the descendant. I've seen that play out where literally every person who that person was with was either literally Jupiterian, a Pisces or a Sagittarius. Or it can be a lot of luck in that area, luck from the people, because this is oh my gosh. The descendant is the public, so your business can also come through like that too. I don't know what's happening, but I'm not re-recording this, okay? So Venus on the IC or the AC. So the IC is like the inner world. It's like the fourth house. It's the inner world, and the AC, of course, is your ascendant. So it can be people who like see your love energy or can bring about love energy, whatever you're seeking too, like they can see you like that. The expansion lines are Jupiterian, so obviously Jupiter is expansion. Now expansion, people say like expansion, good luck. It can also expand issues, expand ideas. I live on my Jupiter line. It's not that to say that my whole life has been so perfect, but I do feel like I've had a lot of great opportunities here, and people who I've met have, really helped me out throughout my career. So I will say that if you want to kind of look at the Jupiter line, also what is like Jupiter on the descendant, Jupiter on the ascendant, Jupiter on the IC, the MC, like all that makes a difference too. So very much like go big or go home with the Jupiter there. Can amplify those blessings too. So if you have Jupiter on the MC, of course, that's career growth, public success too. Jupiter on the AC, like yourself, your ascendant, confidence, popularity, maybe growing your own personal brand too, because it's like a luck. And the ascendant is like the outward appearance of you. Jupiter on the DC, again, lucky in relationships or really helpful people in general can help you out. Jupiter on the IC, of course, home, relocation is really good for like building a family, building those roots, establishing those things too, that good luck in that home type of area. Now, of course, the AC or the ascendant, those are the like the feel good lines. They can align with your personality, with your emotional needs too, the ascendant line. If you, whatever rising sign you are, just think of that kind of thing. So, sun on the IC. Now, I've traveled to my sun on the IC. It can feel like home, it can feel like peace, it can feel like family type of energy. I have when I traveled there, it was different, but crazy thing, like everywhere I went, I saw astrological references everywhere. I'd never been there before. I'd never um like traveled to that city before, and everywhere I went, I mean, I was seeing astrology everywhere on the floor, the like having a just a random conversation with a waitress or something. Like it just, the sun is the soul and the sun is who you are at the end of the day. So I was getting those constant reminders of like who I am. Who is my soul? What is my soul here to do? Um Moon on the IC again is a more nurturing, emotional feeling. Comfort also comes through there. And of course, whenever you're looking at the AC, it's the ascendant. So if you see like sun on the ascendant, I have traveled to my sun on the ascendant line. The sun is like Leo energy. It can be popularity. It can be like people see you and they're like, who is that? Or you can have like a lot more confidence, like a lot more confidence in like how you are, how you appear. Traveling to my sun in the ascendant, I definitely was getting a lot of attention. Now I'm a Scorpio rising, so like I really don't. I know like it looks a lot different for people because they're like, you're on YouTube and you're on every single platform or whatever, but I'm also in control of it. I'm also doing majority of my videos and content either in my house or in the car. So, you know, getting attention, getting compliments sometimes gets a little bit weird for me. But yeah, so that's what happens. So if you're somebody who's like maybe lacking confidence, you need a boost, you need an ego boost, traveling to your sun in the ascendant might help. Also too, understanding too, like the Chiron line, Uranus, Neptune, understanding what those energies mean. Neptune can, again, it's spirituality, but it's also fogginess, dreaminess. Uranus is like unexpected, sudden, random, weird, like Aquarius energy. Uranian energy can be like, what is going on here? This is very weird. I had a friend travel to her Uranus line, and I asked her like, what is something that happened to you while you were there? Anything like unexpected? And she was like, yeah, as soon as I got off the plane, I lost my debit card like immediately, so that too, also your Chiron line. The Chiron line is like the wound, where's Chiron in your birth chart? I have seen Chiron play out to where, like, let's say Chiron on the ascendant. Chiron on the ascendant sometimes can have wounds literally to your physical body. Maybe somebody hit you or something and you got a scar from it. And now when you travel to that Chiron line, you're getting reminded of that. I've traveled to my Chiron line before, and it's not like the trip or anything was bad, but it was more of like a psychological thing to where I was like constantly thinking about certain things. And then I just noticed a pattern and didn't realize that I had traveled to that place like three different times. I was like, okay. So I actually recently got an opportunity to do a podcast out there. And I was like, I said no. I actually turned it down. I was like, if you guys could come like this way, that'd be cool. But once you are aware of like your energies and what's going on, then you kind of are like, I don't know. So, and just this is just a quick interpretation of this because a lot of times, people will ask me about astrocartography and you'll see all these lines. You got the Pluto line too, again, that's scorpionic energy. Just think of like the planet, okay, and then what sign rules that planet, okay, and then what does that look like? What is Mars? Mars is Aries, is Scorpio. Okay, maybe it's high energy. Maybe it's literally physical high energy. Sometimes you travel to your Mars line and you are wanting to work out. You want to go to the gym. You want to take up martial arts. That can happen. I actually just last week traveled to my Moon Mars line. Now there are websites that will give you like a small interpretation of what could play out. Now I will say too that I've traveled to my moon Mars. So moon Mars is like for me, it was more of like, okay, you can be very emotional there, not emotional like maybe crying, but you could be emotions like really in love or really like it's also food too. I have traveled to my moon Mars twice. Definitely ate a lot, like a lot more than I normally would, because moon is also food. It's like to me, it's food. It's like cancer, it's comfort. Um, Definitely the Mars energy, working out. I was in the gym every single day, but I'm also a person who like naturally works out like on vacation. So that was there too. So the interpretation that I did read online was like, oh, you can have arguments and just be really angry here and whatever and whatever. But that didn't happen. That did not play out. But it is just kind of like a general energy. So looking at this stuff, don't take everything as like it is, but understand that it can and will most likely play out. It just is. I've traveled to so many places around the world and I have seen all these different things happen. I've traveled to the same place multiple times and it was not exactly the same, obviously, but their major themes were still there. So it definitely made a difference. And just looking at where you've lived before, if you've lived multiple places and or have traveled to certain places and you're like, oh, really love this place and I really hated this place, or this place is calling me. Just look into it. Look into the why. There is something there for you. Every experience won't always be like just the best. Not to say it will be bad, but sometimes you go places and you're like, that was okay. Like I wouldn't go back. Wasn't all that, I've had some of those type of trips too. But to say I've gone, just like at least I could say I went. But yeah, sometimes it's not always the best, but sometimes you do experience something, you're like, there's just something about this place here. You got to look at what's going on, what energy too. If you are somebody who is like, you love attention, you love socializing, that Mercury line communication, business, networking, that's also something too. So just look at all that. Look at also, like I said, sun line as the ascendant, descendant, MCIC. Those are four different interpretations. And I hate pop astrology when I'll look at like, just travel to your sun line. It's like, no, because you got to look at the birth chart. You got to look at what other lines are intersecting too. It could be Sun and Chiron. It could be Sun. Like, there's just so many different things. So, of course, if you'd like a full interpretation, then you can go ahead and go to my website. Go ahead and book through there. We can talk, and I will give you all the experiences that I've ever had. Because, oh my gosh, sometimes in some places it's been like, what the heck? But thank y'all so much for listening and watching and supporting, and I will talk to y'all very soon.